Hello, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ahmad Farid bin Abdul Mu'in. My number matric is 2022480312.
My name is Ninur Aini Syada binti Mama Abdullah. My matric number is 2022451262.
My name is Nur Syamila binti Mustafa. My student ID is 2022480982.
Hi, my name is Wan Amnia Mali binti Wan Muhammad Azhar. My matric number 2022456242. So let's get started.
For question 1, we need to calculate the overhead cost of each product of Tab 1 and Tab 2. First of all, we need to find the current overhead costing system to get the unit of Tab 1 and Tab 2. We need to use the formula, which is units per year times hour labor per unit, where we will get 12,000 for Tab 1 and 57,000 for Tab 2. Then, we add on both answers, which sum up to 69,000. After that, we need to use the formula overhead absorption rate, OAR, where we will divide with RM and we will get 55.07. And last but not least, to get the overhead cost per unit, we multiply 55.07 with 1 for Tab 1, while for Tab 2, we multiply it with 2. So the final answer for Tab 1 is 55.07 and Tab 2 is 110.14.
Question 1 to Roman. Calculate the overhead cost of each product of Tab 1 and Tab 2 using the suggested costing system by second. Firstly, we need to find the cost driver rates for each activity. Activity that has given is machine processing, quality control, shipment, and machine setup. For machine processing, overhead cost 1,500,000 divide 50,000, and the answer is 30. Quality control overhead cost is 840,000 and divide with 600, and the answer is 1,400. Next, overhead cost for shipment is 760,000 divide with 380, and the answer is 2,000. Lastly, for machine setup, overhead cost is 700,000 and divide with 100, and the answer is 7,000.
Next, we need to solve the product cost per unit for product H1. The activity is machine process. The OAR is 13. Multiplied with the cost driver is RM 50,000. So the answer is RM 450,000. Quality control. The OAR is 1,400. Multiplied with the cost driver is 200. So the answer is RM 2,1800. Next, shipments. The OAR is RM 2,000. Multiplied with the cost driver is 214. And the answer is RM 418,000. The machine setup. The OAR is 7,000. Multiplied with the cost driver is 17. And the answer is RM 419,000. So, we need to find the overhead per unit. The formula is total overhead 1,700,000 divided by the unit produced is 12,000. And the answer of overhead per unit is 141.67.
Now we want to find the product cost per unit for product Tab 2. For machine processing, OAR is 30 and multiply with 35,000, and the answer is 1,050,000. For quality control, OAR is 1,400 and multiply with 400, and the answer is 5,600. For the shipment is OAR is 2,000 multiply with 140, and the answer is 218,000. For machine setup, OAR is 7,000 multiply with 30, and the answer is 2,010. Total overhead for machine processing, quality control, shipment, and machine setup is 2,100. How we can get overhead per unit is total overhead divide with unit produced, and the answer is 73.
Discuss briefly one moment ABC function in internal accuracy in cost. The activity-based costing ABC is a costing system that assigns overhead and indirect expenses to link product and services. This accountant approach of costing recognizes the relationship between cost, overhead activity, and produced items, assign indirect cost to product less at random than previous costing method. First of all, it increases the amount of cost pools that can be utilized to aggregate overhead costs. Then, it establishes new ground for allocating overhead costs to goods, such that expenses are assigned based on the activity that generates cost rather than on volume metric like machine hour or direct labor cost. Finally, ABC changed the character of various indirect costs such as depreciation, utility or salary, making them traceable to specific activity. The advantage of ABC are that it offers better information on cost pattern, make cost information available to all levels of staff, and raise cost consciousness inside the organization. However, they have limitations. For instance, building an ABC system necessitates significant resources which are costly to maintain.
Then, we will find the differences in overhead costs for product Tech 1 and Tech 2 in both systems. For Tech 1, the traditional system got RM 55.07 cents for the overhead cost per unit, while the ABC system is RM 141.67 cents for the overhead cost per unit. It shows that the cost of ABC system is more complex and good than the cost of traditional system. For Tech 2, the traditional system got RM 110.17 cents for the overhead cost per unit, while the ABC system is RM 73.68 cents. It shows that the traditional system have cost distortion or not complex between the ABC cost system.
Question 2a. Prepare an overhead analysis sheet OAS showing the cost allocation, apportionment and reapportionment of overhead for the 5 departments using the repeated distribution method. First, to get this calculation, we should see add additional information. Rent and rates is basis for floor area, so 5,000 divided by total floor area 300,000 and times to total cost electricity 47700. Formula that I use is unit for floor area divided by total floor area times to total cost electricity. Same goes to supervision cost is basis for no number of employee. Maintenance cost is basis for electricity. Electricity is basis for floor area. Insurance is basis for machine value. And lastly, depreciation on machinery is basis for machine value. So the total overhead of assembly is 112,837.32. For processing, 76218.84. For labeling is 53128.31. For canteen is 31541.95, and for maintenance is 36373.53. In reapportionment, we should eliminate total overhead of canteen and maintenance. So for canteen, we use number of employees, and for maintenance, we use maintenance hours. This calculation will repeat until the total in the canteen and maintenance becomes empty. So total production overhead for assembly is 133,758.36. For processing is 105,022.25, and for labeling is 71319.34. B. Calculate the overhead absorption rate OAR for each production center. Basis for assembly and processing is machine hours, while for labeling is direct labor hours. To find the OAR, the total production overhead divided by total basis in each department. Calculation for assembly is 133,789.36 divided by 1500. For processing is 105,022.25 divided by 2250, and for processing is 71319.14 divided by 700. So final answer for assembly is RM 89.70 per machine hours. For processing is RM 46.68 per machine hours, and for labeling is RM 101.88 per direct labor hours.
For C, we need to determine the under or over absorption of overhead for all production centers, which are assembly, processing, and labeling. So firstly, we stated the actual overhead for the production centers that we got from the information based on the questions. So next, we need to find the overhead absorbed. For assembly and processing, we need to multiply machine hour with the actual overhead, where we will get 98,087 ringgit for assembly and ringgit 82,263.60. Meanwhile, for labeling, we need to use direct label hours, so we will get 50,940 ringgit. So lastly, to identify whether each production centers are over or under, we need to subtract actual overhead with overhead absorbed. Thus, each production center is under absorbed because they are more than budget.
5 difference between activity-based costing and traditional costing for overhead computation. Firstly, the ABC is almost all costs are direct, while the traditional costing costs are both direct and indirect. Secondly, the ABC is cost management approach, while the traditional costing is cost accounting approach. Thirdly, ABC is information is meant for decision making, while the traditional costing is group individual cost item into cost center. Last but not least, the ABC is overhead costs are traced to output, while the traditional costing is overhead costs are allocated to output.
Next, we need to know two importance of cost drivers for activity-based costing ABC. Firstly, cost drivers act as cost allocation basis. And secondly, it is to measure the product's demand for activities, which is indicated by the number of transactions.
Part C, there are 3 advantages and 2 disadvantages of activity-based costing. Firstly, provide better information about the cost pattern, make cost information available to all level of employees and create a greater cost consciousness with the organization. Second, enable more realistic, detailed and accurate product costs to be computed, which provide greater accuracy of product costs and result in improved product costing and pricing. Lastly, allow for the use of non-financial performance to control operating performance. And for disadvantage is implementing an activity-based costing system require substantial resource, which is costly to maintain. The other one is activity-based costing is a complex system which need a lot of record for calculation.